This is Mac OS Ken.
Notes running from bearish to bullish. Apple makes a notable self-repair change. And monster news for Apple TV Plus. It is Friday, the 12th of April, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code MacOSKen at manscaped.com. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. With a target of $158, a headline from Apple 3.0 has Barclays analyst Tim Long still telling clients to sell Apple. Working from excerpts of a Business Insider report, the piece says the analyst has Apple turning in a performance that is equal to or lower than quarters past. While App Store revenue grew 12% last quarter in his estimation, that's basically the same growth seen the quarter before, meaning growth has plateaued again in his estimation. He also thinks people are expecting too much in terms of growth for the June quarter. The best he sees for iPhone is meeting sales expectations, though he thinks weakness in China may knock iPhone sales back. The DOJ's case against Google could end up costing Apple a lot of money related to payments for Google's default search engine position in Safari. The report revisits headwinds from China because why not? The analyst is not expecting much from iPhone 16, neither in terms of design innovation nor differentiated AI applications. Add all of that together with macroeconomic pressures and elongated replacement cycles, and the analyst thinks it is time to get out of Apple, leading to the aforementioned sell rating and price target of $158. In the wake of such a negative note, one might have expected Apple shares to drop on Thursday. Instead, they had their best day since May of 2023, according to a piece from CNBC. That report listed two major contributors to Apple's rise, a strong day for tech shares in general, and a note from JPMorgan analyst Samik Chatterjee. Apple shares are down more than 5% so far this year, according to CNBC, yet they were up nearly 4.5% on Thursday, with Chatterjee indicating that sentiment over Apple shares is improving with hedge fund investors. It's interesting to see CNBC accentuate the positive on this one. While that site says the warming among hedge fund investors is due in part to the slide Apple shares have seen this year, Apple 3.0 ran part of the analyst's note that said they're really warming to whatever Apple plans to do with iPhone and AI. But here's the rub. Chatterjee doesn't think that's going to happen until iPhone 17 in 2025, not this year's iPhone 16. In our view, writes the analyst, we expect the upgrade cycle to be driven by iPhone 17 on account of three key reasons. They expect broader adoption of AI phones for the smartphone industry next year in 2025, with 2024 AI phone launches being limited to a few SKUs across limited OEMs. They expect step up in hardware configuration for iPhones in relation to memory and neural processing units in September of 2025, and they expect broader awareness of potential AI use cases in 2025. Between now and iPhone 17, Chatterjee says he and his continue to embed conservatism on three key aspects: lower demand for Macs and iPads than during the height of the pandemic buying in 2021 and 2022, implying limited AI-led replacement cycle on these devices. Then there's anticipated lower growth in services revenue versus fiscal years 21 and 22. And fiscal year 26 and calendar year 26 volumes will likely be lower than those pandemic buying times, mostly thanks to strength from Huawei. What makes the note positive are the rating and price target, I guess. That and that comment about hedge fund investor sentiment. Chatterjee has an overweight rating on Apple shares. He used Thursday's note to drop his 12-month price target on the shares, reducing it from $215 to $210. Suggesting that folks may be focused on the wrong thing where Apple is concerned is BofA analyst Wamsi Mohan. Completing an analytical hat trick, Apple 3.0 ran part of a note he wrote on Thursday. Historically, the analyst says, Apple investors have tended to look at existing products and the profitability associated with those products and services as a measure for how the company would do in the future. That is the wrong thing in his estimation. What they should be looking at is gross margins, which they keep missing. For example, in 2018, analysts were modeling for gross margins of 39% in 2023. What Apple actually delivered were gross margins of 44%, and the street continues to underestimate the long-term gross margin potential for Apple, according to Mr. Mohan, across both products and services. His own expectations around gross margins, momentum in services, and anticipated strength in generative AI and edge AI have Mr. Mohan maintaining a buy rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $225. A big repair change for Apple devices is coming this fall with a big but attached. Stop your giggling. The Cupertino company issued a press release Thursday announcing expanded repair options with support for used, genuine parts. The change will let independent repair providers and do-it-yourselfers use used Apple parts in their repairs. The big old but is that while people will be able to use used parts, those parts will still need to be parts paired. According to the company, the process of confirming whether or not a repair part is genuine and gathering information about the part, often referred to as pairing, is critical to preserving the privacy, security, and safety of iPhone. Defending that position in an exchange with TechCrunch was Apple's Senior VP of Hardware Engineering, John Turnus. Arguing that Apple does not block third-party parts from working, Turnus tells TechCrunch that the company needs to know what part is in the device for a few reasons. They need to authenticate that it's a real Apple biometric device and that it hasn't been spoofed or something like that. Calibration is the other reason. Folks who believe Apple's stance are down with that. Folks who don't are not. For the company's part, Turnus says, you think about Touch ID and Face ID and the criticality of their security because of how much of our information is on our phones. Our entire life is on our phones. We have no way of validating the performance of any third-party biometrics. That is an area where we don't enable the use of third-party modules for the key security functions, but in all other aspects, we do. As for what's on the way, Apple's press release says beginning this fall, calibration for genuine Apple parts, new or used, will happen on device after the part is installed. In addition, future iPhone releases will have support for used biometric sensors, and in order to simplify the repair process, customers and service providers will no longer need to provide a device's serial number when ordering parts from the self-service repair store for repairs not involving replacement of the logic board. The remaining restrictions will likely be seen as bad news by some. The other bad news, the used parts expansion is only for iPhone 15 and later. The TechCrunch piece says that is due in part to limited interoperability between the models. On top of the parts changes, the same expansion will see growth for activation lock. Rather than simply locking a lost or stolen phone, the company says if a device under repair detects that a supported part was obtained from another device with activation lock or lost mode enabled, calibration capabilities for that part will be restricted. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Manscaped. Men's health and men's hygiene have been top of mind this week, thanks to the folks at Manscaped. For the hygiene side, say hello to the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. It's made for one thing: taming, trimming, or just getting rid of hair down there. It's got 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a 1-hour lithium-ion battery, a spotlight, it's waterproof. It is built to do a single job and do it well. They got a sense of humor about selling their products, but a true seriousness about making them. Now, on the health side, it is National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, and Manscaped is raising awareness and money. Not only are they donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society, they are helping you watch out for warning signs. For that, you can visit manscaped.com/TCS. Again, for self-care, manscaped.com/TCS. For hair care, go to manscaped.com and use code MacOSKen for 20% off plus free shipping. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code MacOSKen, all caps, all one word, MacOSKen at manscaped.com. MANSCAPED. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code MacOSKen at manscaped.com. Fans of giant monsters and the people who chase them, chase the monster that is, not the fans, rejoice! Not only has Apple TV Plus renewed Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, for a second season, there are also plans for multiple spin-off series. The Cupertino streamer issued a press release Thursday dropping that news. Morgan Wandell, head of international development for Apple TV Plus, says the team couldn't be more excited for viewers to not only have the chance to experience even more thrills in Season 2, but to embark on epic, new journeys in the franchise as they expand Legendary's Monsterverse. If you have Apple TV Plus and have not watched Monarch, I don't understand what you're doing. At the same time, I am kind of jealous. You get to experience it for the first time. The entire first season of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters is available to stream now on Apple TV Plus. No word on when the second season is due, nor on what other stories they will tell. Personally, I'm hoping for Mothra, but whatever. And finally today, it is a weird day for stuff turning up on Apple TV Plus. First, likely the service's biggest misfire so far, the spy comedy Argylle has hit the Cupertino streamer. I don't really want to say anything bad about it because I haven't seen it. And again, I haven't seen it because, stellar cast: Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, John Cena, Henry Cavill, Catherine O'Hara, Samuel L. Jackson, Bryan Cranston, from the guy who did the Kingsman movies and X-Men First Class. Yeah, maybe I'll watch it. Or maybe I'll finally watch that Mark Wahlberg movie that came out around Christmas. That actually looked funny. I mean, it looked bad, but it looked funny. Anyway, Argylle hit Apple TV Plus today. If you watch it, let me know what you think. info@macosken.com. And starting its run on Apple TV Plus today, a historical drama with a surprising lead. The limited series Franklin, starring Academy, Emmy, and AFI Lifetime Achievement Award winner Michael Douglas as Benjamin Franklin, has begun. Based on the Pulitzer Prize-winning book A Great Improvisation, Franklin, France, and the Birth of America, An Apple press release says the series explores the thrilling story of the greatest gamble of Benjamin Franklin's career. In December 1776, Franklin is world famous for his electrical experiments, but his passion and power are put to the test when, as the fate of American independence hangs in the balance, he embarks on a secret mission to France. That mission was to get an absolute monarchy to underwrite America's experiment in democracy. Like you do. The first 3 episodes are up and streaming now on Apple TV+. This week on the checklist, brought to you by SecureMac, more news of AI tools and shenanigans powered by AI tools. It is an election year after all. Also, Apple has let people in 92 countries know that somebody's trying to take over their phones. It is an election year after all. Look for checklist number 371, AI and probably Pegasus revisited. Find it today at securemac.com/checklist or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code MacOSCan at manscaped.com. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.